Hello. Sorry, I was texting. And I was like just going, "Oh, I've got time. I've got time." I didn't have time. It's awesome. Oh, it's good to be back. Thank you for joining me tonight. This has kind of been a crazy couple of weeks um, because of my hives, like all this situation. So it's it's been kind of crazy. My skin is still healing, so really it's challenging for me to wear jewelry. I did wear jewelry when I was recording. I was recording an astrology reading for the week that I'm getting ready to post, and I was recording that yesterday and the day before. And it's like at least I can wear a shirt now, but wearing jewelry is kind of challenging. So it's kind of like, ooh, a little much on my skin. I have been going to a wonderful acupuncturist, thanks to Rachel and another friend of mine that has actually been texting me, Dawn. And I was just like, okay, I got to do something, man, because like this is getting bad. So it's finally, I hope, healing. And one of these days I'll be able to wear short sleeves and I'll be able to wear my jewelry again. I know. So for now, I just have a lot of makeup covering the little bit of hives that have gotten on my face and on my neck. Try not to show those off too much, but we're dealing with it. So, all right. Who's ready for some major arcana? I know. Okay, so I have lots of notes. I know. So this is primarily like I took lots of notes and I did a lot of brainstorming while I was not able to wear clothes. And or not able to wear lots of clothes last week. And then, like helping my mom, and my brother moved, and it's just, just kind of crazy stuff. So I did a lot of brainstorming. I've got a lot of notes. This is fun. So let's start. I first want to remind everybody that you need to look at every angle of the major arcana. Okay. And oh my gosh, look at everybody in the chat. I don't know why. All of a sudden the chat just came up. Pam, Tina, Courtney, Kim, what? How are y'all doing? And Kim is from Idaho. Oh, that is a state that I haven't been to. I've been to a lot, but I haven't been to Idaho. It's very interesting. I do have a friend that I went to school with that lives in Idaho now. So maybe I should just pop on out there, see Kim and my friend, just, check in on everybody. Great. All right, so let me get the keyboard out of the way. And Badger's like off over there. The sick kitty is not in the cottage with me today. She's not in my office. But Badger is, and I don't know what he's doing. So if he comes over here, I'll have to move the keyboard because he'll hop on it and blurt out a couple of things across the screen. It'll be great. Okay, so major arcana. So the first thing I have on my notes is that you need to look at every aspect of these cards, all right? And you need to not talk to, but listen to as many explanations for the cards as you can. So when I say that, I mean I have taken so many tarot classes. So I took a lot of tarot classes before I could really grasp it, before I was really open to it. So none of that shit settled into my head. All right. So now in the past 2-3 years, I've been taking tarot classes, and I actually am getting I use them for my clients when I'm doing readings. I use them in conjunction with my other cards, but I use them nonetheless. So what I want to encourage everyone here to do is to listen to as many tarot classes, to take as many tarot classes as you can, like online or in person or whatever it is that you choose, because the explanations for these cards are, they're all basically the same. It's like religion. They're all basically built on the same foundation, but they've all taken their own twists and turns about the explanation. They've all taken their own, like, switcheroos to get to that. And the funny thing is that I kind of feel like they all apply a little bit. I mean, and things that I don't notice in like one class, because that teacher's been doing it for a long time, I see like somebody else will show me a different perspective of it, and I'm like, oh, I need to check that out. Okay, there's some new people here. Hey, Zara. Hey, Cindy Signs. It's, yes, I am mending. But I'm not wearing short sleeves yet. So it doesn't bother me to wear sleeves for like a short period of time, and I'm not going to show you guys like all of them, but the hives have just like, yeah, it's just, it's like everywhere. So I had some sort of allergic reaction and it just like went crazy. And now they're trying to figure out what I'm allergic to, but the acupuncturist that I'm going to is really, really wonderful. So she's been the one that's helped me the most. And I've been able to sleep since going to her. Like, I'm not scratching all night. I know, it's good. I digress. So I want you to look at every angle of these cards. I want you to get multiple definitions, multiple descriptions. So if there's an inexpensive tarot class that you can take like online, or an inexpensive tarot class that you can take in person, join it. See if they give you a different perspective that you haven't received before. The other thing is that sometimes I don't listen to a ton of readers online, but every now and then there's like 2 or 3 that I consistently will like check in just to see what they have to say. But there's one guy online that I really love his explanations about the different tarot cards, because he primarily uses tarot. He uses different kinds of tarot decks, but he primarily uses tarot. So you really have to find somebody that you resonate with, okay? Like somebody that is like connecting, helping you stay connected. Oh, Lauren, I'm so sorry. Oh, Lauren, I'm so sorry. You know what, Lauren? I can light a healing candle for you, because, I mean, hey, I'm lighting them for a lot of people, including myself. Bring your cats. I have 7. Thank you, Kim. That'll be great. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty here. Is everybody ready? So let's start by talking about this major arcana. Okay, there's 22, right? So we can look at this as like stair steps. We can look at this as like how like how the emphasis to put on things is like an ascending staircase. Okay. Every card represents like a learning lesson. And Courtney, you're already on my prayer list. So and by the way, I can't wait for Courtney makes candles and she's sending some to me. May turn one of them into a healing candle after this full moon that we've got coming next week. I'll charge it, Okay, so think of this as an ascending staircase with 20, we've got 22 steps, and each one is a lesson. Each one is a process. Each one is like something that we need to work through, something that we need to do to achieve like the next level, to keep moving up. So that in itself always means something to me. When I pull cards and I'm trying to help people that I'm reading for, and I look and I'm like, okay, like this is a card that keeps coming up, this particular major arcana. So where are you at in this lesson? Where are you at with like what's going on? Sorry, my phone's like going crazy. So that's something to keep in mind, okay? Because the major arcana has much more emphasis in your reading than the minor arcana. The minor arcana are sort of the ones that fill in the blanks. Okay? They're the supporting role. They're the supporting characters in the story. You know, they're all about the details. There's a lot of those, you know, we have a lot of those supporting characters, right, in our lives. Yeah. I mean, we're supporting characters in other people's lives, and, you know, so we need those supporting characters. But the main energy of the reading, the big guns, is going to be the major arcana. And that's where we're going to really see, like, okay, what is it that this person is needing to focus on, or what is it that this person needs to leave behind? And some people, not me, some people will separate the deck out, and they will do like a major arcana reading for someone and then a minor arcana. I'm telling you, I've taken a lot of classes on this. So it's not necessarily my favorite, because I like mixing it up and seeing what's going on. And for me, if like several major arcana cards come up in one reading, then I think that's more emphasis. I think it's more emphatic. It's like we should really pay attention to that part. Does that make sense? I mean, I know. And I gotta say, the little ticker down at the bottom, I gotta put that away because it's like driving me crazy. Hang on. Okay, I feel better. Yay. So, where this is when we look at the major arcana, this is where we will find out, like, you can draw one card and just say, what is it that I should study? What is it that I should, like, where does my inner guidance leading me? What's going on? And just draw one card from the major arcana and have that lead you in a direction. That's something I've done for my clients, where I've been like, okay, I'm just gonna like do a major arcana reading and just see like what path, but I don't draw more than one card in that reading, because I want to just see where they need to put their emphasis, where they need to put like a focus. I don't want to do like a whole spread. If I'm going to do a whole spread for somebody, I'm using all the cards. Okay. We need a well-rounded reading here. So that being said, of course, the major arcana starts with 0. And I just want to remind everybody that I also do numerology, which I've been doing for, okay, now it's like the numbers are adding up. It's starting to get closer to that 20-year mark of me doing numerology for 20 years. It's a little scary for me because I can't possibly be that old. Right? So 0 is an important number in numerology. It's not something to skip. It's not something to let go of. It is an important number. It does play a purpose. You know, it plays a role. So I really, really love that how much tarot like brings in that number, you know, that 0 is, you know, it has a purpose and it's not being skipped. Okay. So I'm just going through my notes really quickly. Okay. So what we need to do is like start looking at these cards and seeing what you associate. Like the first one for me. Okay. Let's look at the Fool, right? He's a 0. He's walking in the sun. He's got a little dog with him. He's also got, I guess it's like a little knapsack, you know, back in the day, the 14 and 1500s. This is like, that would be considered luggage, what he's carrying. I know. He's also got like a flower in his hand in this deck. And all of those things, again, it plays a role. And so it's what you catch, what you pay attention to, that you focus on in that reading. Now, I see different things for different people in readings. Like, all of a sudden, I'll be like, I had no idea that was ever on that card, but I'm seeing it because this person needs to hear it. Okay. I'm also looking to see what the Fool looks like in another deck that I have that is also a tarot deck, but it's a traditional tarot deck, but it's slightly, it's just slightly different. So, you know, and we do appreciate those differences, right? Sorry, I had a reading and I used the cards. So naturally, I shuffled them up. Can't even blame the cat today. It was me. I shuffled them up because I was like, okay, you know, I need to do this reading, and I wanted to use this tarot deck because it's the one that I have gotten to know the best. Okay, found it. Oh, okay, so it's not that far off. It's really, really close. Do you see that? I mean, there's a little bit more to this picture. I don't feel like the dog is trying to bite him. There does seem to be like a little more, I don't know, like he kind of knows where he's going, even though he's about to step off a cliff, right? He knows where he's going, but he's walking in faith. New beginning. So looking at these two cards, whoops, sorry. Got my photography lights back on. So looking at these two cards, you'll see some slight differences. For me, it looks like in this one that the dog is like trying to bite at his heels, but I don't feel like that in this one. I feel like the dog is trying to get some kind of treat or something. I don't know if it's because his tongue's out. I don't know. In this one, he seems a little bit more confident. In this one, I don't know. Maybe he's singing a song and he doesn't even realize that he's about to step off a cliff. So this is, wait, is it my internet that got lost, Kim, or was it your internet? Is my internet bad? Is everybody like okay seeing me? So again, I love this, that it's a 0, that we're starting at 0, and it is more or less taking a leap of faith and like making that chance and just being like, okay, not really sure what's going to happen here. Not really sure where we're going, but we're going to give that a shot. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Into the deep end. Okay. So the Fool, he's a fascinating figure. Little, some people call him like the Joker of the deck, and I feel like it was I feel like at some point, like Courtney says, seems like the dog is just blindly following the leader. Probably. You know, dogs will do that. If they feel like you got food, my dogs will follow me all over the house if I'm chewing gum because they think I have food, and they're like, oh, wait, no, we need to get some of that. I'm like, it's gum. I'm not giving you Bubblicious. Yes, I do. If I can find Bubblicious, I'm on it. I know. So anyway, this guy is sort of I don't want to call him a bum or a homeless dude, but he's sort of a drifter. So maybe he goes from town to town and just does odd jobs, which I think was a really big deal back in the time that the tarot cards were created, like back in the 1500s, that it was kind of like, you know, you really should have roots. But there were people that traveled from town to town and sold things, or, you know, just did odd jobs and moved on. I mean, some would call them gypsies. I don't know, whatever. So anyway, the Fool is supposed to be a very confident person, a very confident man. Usually it's associated with somebody that's younger. I don't know why. I think we do lose our confidence a little bit as we get older because we know there's a lot of weird shit that can happen. However, when we're younger, we're just like, no, this is great. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. It's just like, oh, yeah. I mean, it's very entertaining, isn't it? Yeah. So this guy carries all of his worldly possessions with him. Traveler, gypsy, whatever. And it's the dog apparently is supposed to be instincts. The dog is supposed to represent someone's instincts. So, in the one that looks like it's biting at his heels, well, what are your instincts telling you to do? And sometimes, like, that's something that comes up when I pull the full card, and I say, okay, what are you trying to take a leap of faith on? What are your instincts telling you? You see where we're going with this? Let's see. He's a cheerful guy. He's confident. He's ready to, like, go for it. And he's not worried. He's not worried because he's walking in faith. Boy, that's hard. That is really hard. Yeah. So I'm going to talk to you about reverse readings too, because a lot of readers won't read cards in reverse. I'm one of those. However, I think that that's a personal thing. I think that that is something that if you want to read the reverse cards, I think that you should, because I've also heard teachers, instructors say, if you aren't reading the reverse cards, then you're missing half the deck. Well, to a point, that's true. But I still feel like the card deck is going to get its point across, even if you're not reading a reverse card. Does that make sense? But I think reverse cards do have their place. It's just not my personal choice. So when we have like a reverse card come up with the Fool, this is hang on just a second. That your leap of faith may not be the right time. Do you see the like kind of way this is going? You may be thinking too much of dreams, and the adventure, it may not be time for that adventure. Does this make sense? And look closely at the Fool. So when you're taking a look at this, and like I said, I learn new things about these cards all the time. Like, I didn't realize, like, the guy's dressed pretty brightly, right? And in the 14 and 1500s, the poor citizens, shall we say, the serfs, the people that worked for the big manor house, or that worked the land for the lords that owned it or whatever, they dressed in, like, there was a specific class, like, I guess a way of dressing. Like, they were only allowed to wear certain colors, because, like, the higher up you went in, I guess in the nobility line, like, meant you could wear certain colors and certain types of fur. Yeah. Because, like, only, like, people that had titles, I think, and it wasn't all titled people, they could wear ermine. I'm trying to remember my history, but I'm pretty sure that was, like, I know it was certain types of fur that people were not allowed to wear if they were not titled, or if they were not, like, nobility or royalty or whatever. I know. So he's dressed very brightly for someone in that time period. So that does indicate happiness. That's not the case today, right? Everybody wears whatever the hell they want to. I mean, even homeless people, oh my gosh, they go and get, like, clothes at thrift stores or at churches or whatever, and they could be wearing a very brightly colored Ralph Lauren, like, sweater, right? Pretty nice. So it's just, this is indicative of the time period. So this is kind of where we go back to, are these cards too antiquated? Some of the more updated versions have a different spin on it, right? I mean, so it's just, I know there's some interesting stuff with the cards. Just saying. Okay, so let's move on from the Fool to the Magician. Okay, now this is one of my favorite cards, and I'm showing you from 2 decks so that you can see, so that you can see they're similar, but they're different. They're slightly different, right? So this guy in this one, he seems to be standing, it's like he's standing in front of a green screen. That's a good way to put that, right? It looks like he's standing in front of a green screen, like that he's getting his picture taken. And it's like studio photography or something. He's at a photo shoot. But look at all the flowers that are blooming around him. He's got the Oro. Hang on just a second. See, I wrote this down. So I remembered which one and how to say this. And where did I put it? Dang it. It's the, I'm going to say it wrong again. Ouroboros. Ouroboros. Okay. The Ouroboros is a circular symbol that depicts a snake or a dragon devouring its own tail, and is used especially to represent the eternal cycle of destruction and rebirth. That is directly from like Webster's, so online edition. So this guy is wearing a belt with that on it. You can see it really good in this card. In this card, you can't tell that that belt is a snake. You can't tell that that's what's there. Okay. So in this one, he doesn't look like he's standing in front of a green screen, though. He looks like he's standing in nature. He looks like he is literally standing out in nature, and that somebody walked up on him and he's like got his tools out and he's like performing magic. But really, look at that belt. That does not look like a snake, does it? Looks like a rope to me. But you know, you can't leave out little details like that. That is something that I feel like is really important. Now, most of the plants around him, at least at the bottom, are not flowering plants. There's one lily and then the rest are roses up above. Whereas the other guy is surrounded by lilies and roses, which represents the Trinity. The lilies do, by the way. I know. I'll look that up too. Just double check. That was weird. We still live? Yeah. Okay. So sorry. Like we had a terrible storm last night here at my area of Georgia. So who knows what's going to happen with the internet today. I know. So both guys though have the infinity sign. Both guys are holding up a wand. Both guys have a representation of the cups, the pentacles, the swords, and the wands like in front of him, letting us know that he is ready for anything. He is prepared for anything, and he has all the tools he needs in his tool belt, and he is ready to go. Yeah. So the Magician, this is representing wisdom. This is representing like things that you are actually in control of, but you don't realize it. I know that sounds weird, doesn't it? It's really the power to control like unforeseen things. So maybe this person has a really good grip on their emotions, not me. So I would never pull this card for myself. I don't think I have a good grip on that because like everything I feel just shows up on my face and shows up in like, you know, what I'm saying, how I'm talking. So the Magician is able to manipulate the material world by aligning it with the spiritual plane in order to manifest like outcomes. That's the Magician part. This is let's see. no, this is definitely somebody that is a traditional, like what they used to see as a traditional magician. And they used to see the magicians as male only, not female, because if they could do any kind of magic as a female, they were a witch and they probably burned them. I know. Notice there's no witches in this major arcana. Isn't that awesome? Can only imagine. So the interpretation here is some people may have latent powers that they're not accessing. Okay, that's something that I think we all do, right? Learning how to use energy. Maybe we need to learn how to use that energy that's floating around us, because there's energy all around us. Also, I like to look at this card and think it represents like Neptune a little bit. Not all the way, not like, the King of Cups. But I like to think that this represents like a little bit of Neptune, even though a couple of different places have told me Mercury. But it's Neptune can kind of I want to say, like, I'm looking at my notes. I wrote down so much crap. It's like Neptune has the ability to manipulate like our outcome and give us an illusion of how things are going. However, at the same time, we can create our own reality. And that's also what the magician does. He manipulates all of the tools that he has, the earth, wind, water, and fire, because each of the minor arcana symbols represents an element. So he can manipulate any of those and become like what he needs. So he is able to create his own reality in that. I know. But I still feel like that there's a different, they all have different planets associated with them. I don't particularly think that that's always like important. It's not the most important thing to me. But that doesn't mean that it's not important. Like, okay, the Fool has the ruling planet of Uranus. And the Hebrew path of Alph, Aleph. I think I'm saying that right. The magician, okay, this was the second text that I had, that the ruling planet was Mercury on magician, and the Hebrew path is Beth, Beth. I know, it's great. So the spiritual interpretation of this is that the magician gives rise to creation, because he creates, he raises his hand towards the realm of spirit, towards heaven, and he draws down and brings it into life. So there's that. Reverse meaning is, are you using your power appropriately? And this could even be in terms of not necessarily witchcraft or not necessarily spell work, but are you using your power appropriately at work? Are you using your power appropriately with your family? Just those kind of things. So are you using your power appropriately? Are you using it destructively? Are you very vain? Okay, I'm very vain. I haven't pulled this card for myself, but there's a reason why I did not go on last week, other than the fact that it did hurt for me to wear a shirt. But there's a reason why I'm wearing long sleeves, so that y'all don't see all this nasty hives that are all over me. There's a reason why I have like 14 layers of makeup on, so that you don't see all the hives, because I am vain. So I understand that. I would probably pull this card in reverse for myself right now. And this, but the reverse meaning is also, this is not a good time to start a new project. It's also that you could be vulnerable or under the influence of those who lie and deceive. I know. Do you like that? Hey, Glenda. Hey, Lori. How are y'all doing? And Catlin, how are y'all doing? Oh my gosh, it's so good to see everybody. especially after, like, I didn't leave my house for 9 days. That sucked. But I'm at least sort of out and about now. Yeah, still getting there. Did I miss anything with the magician? Sorry, I'm working out of 4 books and my notes, so this is good. Okay, moving on past the magician. Oh, no, don't go away. Got notes on the computer too. Do you love, like, dealing with a Virgo? Oh, it's great. Jen Stratman to mommy, yay! It's do a reverse card for gas prices. Seriously, I know, Cindy. Gosh, that is so true. Okay. All right, I'm marking my page in the next one. Okay, so the next one is the High Priestess. So again, I want to emphasize a couple of things with this. I encourage you all to get as many different references, I guess is a good way to put that, of tarot. Like, take a bunch of different tarot classes. Get as many different perspectives on these cards as you can. Okay. I'm not trying to, like, confuse you or say, oh, you take all these classes and it's going to get you really confused. And it could. But what if you take the class with the forethought of just thinking, okay, I want to see what perspective they have on the major arcana, or I want to see what perspective they have on the minor arcana. I want to see like what spreads they use, what kind of layouts they use. That it takes sort of the, I don't want to say it's not important, but it takes the importance out of, like, the class, where you can just focus on one part of it. Like, let's see how they interpret the major arcana. Let's see how they interpret the minor arcana. I know. So I really do think this is important because, first of all, I am not the end all be all here with the tarot, but I think that looking at other people's explanations is really good. And check out TikTok, check out YouTube. You can get a lot of free stuff on there too. Yeah. Well, like this class, sort of. It's not really a class because I'm not really teaching. I'm working with you guys. I'm learning it with at the same time. Okay, next one is the High Priestess. So the High Priestess, I just really, really love this card. Okay, for several reasons. Because in the old Jewish texts, there are so many women leaders in the Jewish religion, in the old Jewish texts. And then at some point, some of the men leaders started to change things and alter things. But when you look at, like, truly, like, devout Jews, truly, oh my gosh, I just forgot the name. The very Orthodox Jews that you see, especially like in New York, because they have just like whole little, like, areas of them. Sorry, my phone is like going crazy. They still have women. They still have female leaders. That's important to recall and remember. So I really like the High Priestess. She's holding the Torah, which is the first 4 books of the Bible, I believe, in the Old Testament. And you can see it better in this. She's holding the Torah. She's between the 2 pillars that are from... Okay, where did I put it? She's like between those 2 pillars that you see in sort of the Tree of Life thing. Did I put it in a... I probably put it away. Well, apparently I did. So, that's really important because this is knowledge. This woman is knowledgeable. It's not just that she's knowledgeable, it's that she's knowledgeable based on, like, religion. She's knowledgeable based on, like, the world. she's got pomegranates behind her. She's wearing a cross because, again, when these were created in the 14 and 1500s, Judaism was sort of against the law. I mean, you guys have heard of the Spanish Inquisition, right? I mean, they were trying to eradicate lots of people from... They were trying to eradicate anyone that wasn't a Catholic at that time. Yeah, can you believe that? What a shocker. No. So it's like we're repeating things in history. So, but there's lots of representation on here. The pomegranates typically were representative of the Spanish queen, Isabella. She always used the pomegranates in her in her coat of arms or whatever. It was a representation. And in fact, Catherine of Aragon took that same representation with her when she became Queen of England. The pomegranate was her, like her, I don't know, her seal, it was representative of her, you know? So this lady has the representation of the pomegranates behind her. She also has the moon down here. I know, very pretty. I love that she's in robes. So it kind of gives the impression of her being a feminine spiritual leader, sort of like the Pope. I mean, she's kind of wearing a mitre. Not exactly, but kind of. So she sits between the two pillars. I knew I had this in my notes, which represents the duality of the world, good and evil, light and dark, positive and negative. And she promises reconciliation of those opposites, or those opposing. Yeah. So she is encouraging people to follow a spiritual path. She's also been depicted as sitting in the doorway of a temple, welcoming students. The crescent moon at her feet may warn of danger, releasing higher knowledge to someone who is unprepared to handle it. I know. It's really great. The interpretation is that something could be hidden within you. I know. But is preparing to come forth, and you should pay more attention to your dreams, imagination, and intuition, and the importance of developing the spiritual part of your life, or whatever you've been holding back on due to fear or lack of motivation. I know. So the ruling planet here is the moon. Go figure. I mean, there's a moon there, right? But this is about femininity in the spiritual world. It is about wisdom. It is about faith. But in the modern sense, it is also a little bit about like being a prophetess, I guess is a good way to say that. And because these pillars are supposed to represent the pillars of King Solomon's temple, which is also represented in the Kabbalah and Freemasons. I know, who doesn't love that? So she wears a silver crown that is supposed to represent the waxing and the waning moon with the full moon in the center. Let's just pull that back out, shall we? Do you see her crown? Mm-hmm. She wears, okay, I do like the kind of cross she's wearing. And I made a note of this because in this one, in this cross, it looks a little bit more like the cross that the Knights Templar wore, where saying that the masculine and the feminine was equal, you know, so it wasn't necessarily the cross depicting that the crucifixion of Christ, but it was, but it's sort of like giving that, unity between male and female. Yeah. So, also, the Torah is the first 4 books of the Bible. It also means law. So the spiritual interpretation of this is the tree of life. All right. And the tarot path reaches its to the very peak of creation. There's an element about her that she hasn't been soiled. And I will say this, like most, like in Roman Greek times, if women were handmaidens, or if they were a prophet or a priestess in any kind of temple, they had to be virgins. So untainted, unsoiled. I know. Well, taking all the fun out of that, aren't they? Not fun. Unsullied is what I have written down. Yeah, I think I've been sullied. She has the potential for motherhood, but she has not brought that into fruition at this time. Yeah. This is indicating that maybe the person you're reading for has a very powerful intuition. Maybe they have psychic abilities. Maybe they haven't uncovered them. Maybe they're talents that they have hidden from themselves and from others. And they're just sort of tapping into that maybe a little bit at a time. The reverse meaning is a tendency towards indulgence or superficial. And that's where the intuition is completely gone. Like they're not using it at all. And they're just like focusing on the external forces, like of what's going on in the world, what's going on in the physical, what's going on in society. And they just kind of skip the spiritual world altogether. So that's why there's a lot of, like, if it's in reverse, that's why you'll see a lot of superficial stuff around it. Pomegranate donates female fertility. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, so this is, if you pull this card for someone who is just opening themselves up to their intuition, this could be that they've always been hiding it from themselves. I see that a lot. I've never really noticed that card came up, but I also, as I've told you guys, I've only been using this deck for 2 years, and I feel like I'm still getting to know it. I'm like that about making commitments, though. I mean, I'm real weird about like making a commitment, especially to a card deck. I mean, it's almost like me trying to make a commitment to a man. Dr. Seuss. Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, do we have to get married? Because, you know, I'm doing pretty good, right? Without marriage. Everything changes when you get married. When you make that commitment. Okay. Did I cover everything? I feel like I did. Yeah, the reverse of that, something is seeking recognition. Okay. Oh, she can also represent Isis in the Egyptian religion. Or in the Egyptian culture. Maybe that's a better way to put it. The Egyptian goddess Isis. Yeah. Okay, so moving on, because I'm only on the 4th card and it's already like 8:50. So that's really great. Really staying timely, aren't I? So this is the Empress. Isn't she lovely? Right there. Okay, both of them are wearing crowns, right? Both of them are holding a scepter. Both of them have the sign of Venus right next to their chair. You can't see this one as well because it's sort of like gold embossed, but it's there. Both of them are sitting in nature. Both of them look like they're sitting on a throne, that they're very pampered. Both of them look pregnant, right? So guess what planet this rules? Venus. So, in reading in looking at this, the Empress is she's very celebrated because she's in a rich, fertile place because there's a lot of gardens behind her, right? She's in nature. In this one, she's literally sitting in the middle of it. Yeah, I like to sit in the middle of my stuff too. I want to destroy my stuff. God. So this card signifies stability and harmony with the prospect of growth and prosperity because this woman is clearly rich. She is clearly rich. She's being pampered. She's being taken care of. And she's obviously very fertile. So there's, again, growth because she's pregnant in both pictures. So this could be that, like your world has a lot of joy and contentment. It could also mean that your personal relationships are in a really good place. Yeah. It could also mean like if you are a business owner that you have good opportunities and there's some positive outcomes like heading your way, that this is a very productive time for you in your business and that you're happy with your life. It could also be that the person sitting across from you, if it is in fact a woman, could be looking at having a baby. And it doesn't mean that she's necessarily going to have that baby out of her own body. Let me be clear on that. Because sometimes you'll see that with people that are adopting. And you'll get this card. The reverse meaning is unproductive activities. Like not tapping into the full potential for growth. This is where we are. It's sort of like we're breaking up the creative energies and we're not allowing them to grow, and everything is just, it's just disappointing. Everything is like coming up as a failure, and that's not where we want to go. So this is not that. Be cautious during this time. Don't use poor judgment. Don't act like quickly. Because there's a lot, like when this card, you get this card in reverse, there's a lot of powers of seduction at play here. Ooh, powers of seduction. I love that. This is the universal mother. I know. Feminine energy is at work, and this is a strong feminine energy. So when you're pulling this card for one of your clients, if they're not a woman, there's a strong feminine energy influence in their lives. Yeah. If somebody ever does that for my boys, I hope it's me. I mean, until they get married, but yeah. So, she is associated with one of the wives of Zeus, Hera. She is definitely a matriarchal figure and a symbol for like a primary female in the house or in the business or whatever. It's the primary female. Reversed is time to nurture yourself, because maybe you've been spending too much time caring for others. Empaths will do that. But it's really important that you don't neglect yourself and that you don't neglect, like some of your relationships, and don't neglect using good judgment at this time. Don't throw that to the wayside. Let's just stop and use some good judgment. Now, her counterpart is the Emperor. Now, on one of these decks, he doesn't look like an emperor to me. This is the one that he doesn't look like an emperor to me. He looks sort of like an old man. Like, I don't know. He looks a little homeless to me. But in this card, that looks like an emperor. You know, he looks like he's sitting on a throne. He looks like he's wearing a big old crown. And this guy, he is wearing a crown, but it looks like a hat. looks like he just got cold and he just put on a hat. His feet aren't really well shod. It looks like he's just wearing straps. And a lot of people that were poor in those days, that's kind of how they created that. They created shoes for themselves, was they just wrapped cloth around their feet, straps. Yeah. It was a primitive version of sandals. I wouldn't imagine these guys were wearing like Dolce & Gabbana sandals. They're pretty though. So this guy there's ram's heads on both of the thrones that they're sitting on. And so that gives us Aries. Yeah. So this is really great because this does represent Aries. And I think that other than the fact that this guy, to me, just doesn't look like an emperor, he kind of looks homeless, the cards aren't that different from one another in these two depictions. He is a figure of supreme authority. Like, yeah, we need another one of those, right? And he is willing to fight for what he thinks is right and his duty to protect. This is really good. He is definitely an authority because he has achieved a worldly power. And so when you're reading this for somebody, it usually has to do with some kind of authority. Like, are they the authority in their own life? You know, are they a boss in their own life? You know, that's not always true, right? We're not always the boss in our own lives. I don't know why. Some of us have kids, right? But he's very worldly. He's very powerful. He's very intelligent. There's a lot of wisdom there. So he's not just a figure that is like telling everybody what to do. He's actually like, he's somebody that interprets the law. So he's kind of a judge as well. This is somebody that has power and also knows how to use it. Not really an aggressive person, but will fight if forced into it. Somebody that definitely likes to build and make a lasting value to contribute to the world. When the emperor appears, this individual's father, whether it's their real father or somebody they think of as their real father, could be coming up. If they have daddy issues, most of us, right? If they have daddy issues, then this could come up when they're dealing with it. I know. From the pagan perspective, this is important. The emperor is represented by the horned god, and the great mother is the goddess, the empress that we just saw. And he is like the epitome of masculinity. Oh, isn't that great? So this really could be an issue about a biological father or somebody that they think of as their real father. Yeah. If you get it reversed, this could be like really conflict with anything. It could be conflict among their family. It could be conflict at their job. It could be conflict with like a specific group of people, you know? And that, I mean, like you could have pissed off, I don't know, the Boy Scouts or the Masons or, I don't know any other male groups, to be honest with you. I mean, you don't want to piss off like the Backstreet Boys, but are they still together even? Yeah, I don't know. So that's the thing, is that, you know, when you see this reverse, they really could have feel pressured to act in a certain way, to take responsibility of something that they don't want to do. They don't want to take responsibility of it, or they don't want to accept responsibility for an action that maybe they don't feel like they deserve, or a job that they don't feel capable of handling. Yeah. So this is lots of fun. this is also if that person feels a recent loss of power. So I have seen this come up for people when they have been demoted at work. So that can happen. And this person should, if it comes up in reverse, they should also really look out for their health. So just keeping all this in mind. So we got through 5 cards. I'm so sorry that it took me so long, but I didn't get started right away. I had some things I needed to talk about. I'm very excited about this, and we're going to continue with the Major Arcana next week. And I promise I will finish the rest of the cards in 1 hour, and I won't talk so much about, well, everything else, like my cats, my hives. Hopefully my hives are just way better by then. Because, you know, this is getting old. I've had these hives for a month now. Like, that's when my allergic reaction happened, was the day before Mother's Day. Yeah. And, you know, the emergency room. And so, yeah. So now it's healing. So we're getting into a good place. At least I can wear shirts now for a little while. I'm wearing shorts, but pants do irritate my skin for a while. You know, it's just a little hot here in Georgia. And, you know, I get out in the sun and then I'm sweating and then my skin gets irritated even more. But last week it really just hurt for anything to touch. Like, it was bad. So we're healing. I'll be able to wear my jewelry again soon too. Yeah. Check out our channel because I put an astrology, or I am posting it. I think it's still loading. It's called Astrology Chat, and it's giving you the astrology for the upcoming week, for next week, the 12th through the 18th. So I hope you guys like it. I recorded it this week. Just trying something new. Just trying to see what's going to happen. Yeah. Thank you, Tomomi. You're so sweet. I haven't had time to read the book yet, but I bought the complete guide to tarot and astrology. Shut up. Oh my gosh, Tomomi. I've got to see that book. That is so cool. So, yeah, I need another tarot book. I'm working off of 4 of them right now. So just remember, when you're doing a reading, the emphasis is on the Major Arcana. That's like the bigger guns in your reading, and the supporting players, the supporting actors are the Minor Arcana. But if you want to do a reading for somebody just using the Major Arcana, don't pull more than 2 cards. Just pull 1 card and just see like where they need to be heading on their path. Trust me, you don't want to start with the 22 cards and just say, oh, like, I'm going to do a whole reading from this 22. Don't do that. Bring in the supporting players. They help make sense. They help make everything happen. And they help iron some stuff out. So don't forget that. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining me again tonight. And I appreciate y'all being patient with me since I was absent last week. But, and we'll get back together for episode 4 where we will continue the Major Arcana. I know. It's really helping me study. I mean, I love this. So I still want to see if any of you had some interesting tarot cards. I would like to see them. I am using the traditional Rider-Waite and the golden... The Golden Universal Tarot. So those are the 2 that I am using. Oh, we got through 5 cards tonight. That's awesome. So the Golden Universal Tarot and the traditional Rider-Waite is what I'm using for illustrations for this class. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Tomomi. Thank you so much, Jen, Courtney, Cindy. I appreciate you guys so much. Seriously. Y'all are awesome. And now I'm going to go chisel this makeup off my face so that the hives that are on my face can just come out. I know. But I'll have to do it again tomorrow for metaphysical practices when we are going to talk about the full moon in Sagittarius that is coming up. And oh my gosh, there's stuff happening. I know. It's very great. Yes, Courtney, I promise I'll check the mail. Y'all, really, she makes some awesome candles. So I can charge them in the moon and I can use them for different things. Smart girl. I've got a deck of traditional tarot and a deck of oracle cards. Okay, Catlin, this is good because I do want to touch on some oracle cards next. But since there's so many oracle cards out there, there's so many oracle decks, I don't really know how to approach it, but I am going to talk about just different layouts and stuff, especially as we get to the end of this, because this is my go-to deck right here. The Psychic Tarot by John Holland. I'm on my 4th or 5th. No, this is definitely my 5th deck of this. So because I wear them out. I use these cards so much, I wear them out. So I use these cards multiple times a day. And I just love them. They're amazing. So you guys let me know if you have any questions. Hit me up at metaphysicalroundtable@gmail.com. You can also message me on like Messenger on Facebook, or you can drop a comment on YouTube. That'd be great. So I'm okay with that because the other comments on YouTube I usually have to delete. So it would be fun to have comments on YouTube that I don't have to delete, that are actual questions. What a phenomenal thing. But hey, I'm not hating them because they're watching the video just so they can make a shitty comment. I'm like, oh baby, but you just got me money. So yeah, it's funny. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And until next week, I really want you guys to finish focusing on your major arcana. If there are ones that you have specific questions about in the major arcana, email me, let me know. And if I read for you and you have my phone number and you can text me and tell me what your question is and I'll address it. Okay. You know, there's probably 5 other people that have the same question. So we'll talk to you guys later and we will get back on target and read the rest of these major arcana, or talk about the major arcana next Wednesday. Wednesday, right? Yeah, it is. I hope to see some of you tomorrow night for metaphysical practices. And if I don't, then get out there and make your magic, especially with the tarot. Bye.